Alright guys, so today we're going to be reacting to 20 German words that Americans use all the time and their real meaning. Fairly from Germany. I want to see this. I want to see this. I want to see this. I want to see it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Let's jump in.
Definitely used these words before in English, maybe even on a daily basis, but did you know that they're actually German? Hallo, Servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Felicia. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, but I have been living in Cincinnati, Ohio, off and on since 2016.
Cincinnati?
So a few weeks ago, I made a video about 20 English words that we use in German, and a lot of them actually have a completely different meaning in German than they do in English, like old-timer, just to give one example, which refers to an old person in English, but to German speakers, an old-timer is a vintage car. Check out the video to find out about the other 19 English words that we use differently in German. But today I'll talk about the opposite, basically, so about German words that are used in English. There aren't nearly as many German words in English as there are English words in German, but there are actually more than you would think. And a lot of them are words that people use all the time, but they don't really know that it's a German word. And even I...
Hey, shout out to Felicia. She has a great accent, better than me. Better than me, man. I'm still struggling with mine. Hey, shout out to Felicia. Nice job.
I wasn't really aware of how many German words are used in English, so for me it was super surprising every time I first heard someone use one of those words. Like, they're just saying something in English and suddenly I'm like, wait, what? You just spoke German? So for today's video, I made a list of 20 German words that are used in English, and I just picked the ones that are either used a lot or that I just thought were funny or interesting. But before we start with the list, I'd like to introduce today's sponsor, Skillshare, which is an online learning community that offers thousands of classes.
There you go. Kindergarten. Oh yeah.
Let's start with...
Interesting. That is interesting. You're right. You read it. Kindergarten.
One of the most known ones, and that is kindergarten. In German, we pronounce it Kindergarten, and it literally means children's garden. And even though the word is used in a very similar way in the two languages, it's not 100% the same. In Germany, kindergarten isn't part of the school system, but it's more like a daycare. Kids can go there from the age of 3 up until they start first grade, but it's not mandatory for parents to send their kids to kindergarten, and there is no mandatory curriculum either. Some kids...
That's funny now that you mention it and you pronounce it. It makes sense. That's crazy.
May practice math and writing in kindergarten, but it's not a class setting, and the focus is usually more on playing and activities like doing crafts, singing together, going on field trips and those kind of things. While in the US, kindergarten is the year before first grade, and it's part of the school system. That's why it's also called K to 12, kindergarten to 12th grade. So the kindergartens usually belong to a school and are a little more focused on academics. So same word, but different meaning in Germany and the US. And what I find funny is that the German concept of kindergarten is what Americans also call preschool sometimes, while Vorschule, the literal translation for
preschool was before kindergarten. Well, so depends.
In German basically stands for the American concept of kindergarten. So it's somewhat switched. Like some German kindergartens do offer a Vorschule the year before first grade to prepare the kids a little academically.
What?
I actually had no clue that Americans used this German word before I came here, and the first time I heard it, it sounded so funny to me.
Christ.
Gesundheit is what we say for bless you in German, and Americans seem to use it that way too. Especially among younger people, I found that they usually use it in a more funny way, but it can also be just used with a normal tone. The word itself actually just means health in German, so whenever someone sneezes, we wish them health.
Oh, but how do you pronounce it though? Gesundheit? Gesundheit.
I actually had no clue that Americans used this German word before I came here, and the first time I heard it, it sounded so funny to me.
How do you pronounce that?
Gesundheit is what we say for bless
Gesundheit?
you in German, and Americans seem to use it that way too. Especially among younger people, I found that they usually use it in a more funny way.
I never heard this before. Maybe because she's in Ohio. Right? Ohio, there's a lot of Germans heritage over there, so I'm guessing a lot of Germans and Dutch and all that stuff. That era, maybe there. I've never heard that. Gesundheit.
But it can also be just used with a normal tone. The word itself actually just means health in German, so whenever someone sneezes, we wish them health.
Like if I sneeze, achoo, someone say bless you. That's how you pronounce that? That's how you pronounce it, bless you? That makes no sense, I guess. Kaput.
Just like Gesundheit, I didn't know that this word was used in English before I moved to the US. We spell it with 2 T's in Germany,
Kaput?
but we pronounce it the same way, kaput. And it basically has the same meaning in both languages. It means broken, damaged, or destroyed, as in...
Yeah, it has to be because she's located in Ohio. Because there's a lot of German heritage in that area. So that might be the reason why. But then I'm in Wisconsin. I never heard this before.
My phone is kaputt, mein Handy ist kaputt, or...
Really? Do we really use that, kaputt? I never heard this before. Mein Handy ist kaputt.
It can also mean exhausted, as in, I went hiking for 8 hours today and I'm so kaputt. Ich bin heute...
See, it has to be that. It has to be the area that she is currently. Makes sense.
8 Stunden gewandert, ich bin total kaputt. And just like in German, where we say etwas geht kaputt, you also say something goes kaputt in English.
Kaputt.
Another one which I love hearing in English is doppelganger, especially because it seems kind of funny to me that you would use a rather long German word that even has
that's a doppelganger. I heard this before.
Umlaut. I mean, okay, in English it's usually written with just an A, but people could also just say look-alike or double in English.
Yeah.
Why use doppelganger? Anyway, I think it's fun, and I think I first found out about this when I watched the American show How I Met Your Mother in English as a teenager, because that's like a whole theme on that show, to find all the main characters' doppelgangers.
Okay, Stein.
This one I just recently used in my video on alcohol culture in Germany and the US. And I have to say that it still feels kind of weird to me every time I use this word in English, or even when I just hear it, because it actually has a completely different meaning in German. Bierstein, or just Stein in English, refers to a beer mug, traditionally made out of stoneware, but it can also refer to the more modern glass mugs, while in German, Stein means stone, and the beer mug is called Bierkrug. Some of my German viewers actually commented on my alcohol video and told me that in some parts of Rheinland-Pfalz, in the western part of Germany, people also use the word Stein when they refer to a liter of something. So they would say, ein Stein Bier bitte, 1 liter of...
So it will be very interesting to see where she lives currently, how many Germans are from that area, heritage-wise. That'll be very interesting.
Beer, please. It seems to be a regional thing, though. I had never heard about this before, and I'm curious if there is any connection to the English use of the word, but I couldn't really find anything about this, so let me know if you know more about it. The next one is Spiel, and even though this has a different meaning than the word does in German, I really like the English meaning because we don't really have a German equivalent for it. In English, Spiel is a kind of speech, especially one that is long and spoken quickly and is intended to persuade the person listening about something. So this is often used in sales situations, and for example, you could say something like, oh, they gave me the whole spiel about why their university is the best in the country. In German, Spiel, capitalized, simply means game, and spielen means to play.
Oh, that is interesting. Stool.
This one is not exactly a loan word from the German language, but it does have Germanic origins, and I included it in this list because I personally think that it sounds exactly like the German word Stuhl. But it's actually a so-called false friend because it has a different meaning in the two languages. Stuhl in German is a chair, while Stuhl in English is what we call Hocker in German. Kind of similar, but not quite the same thing.
I mean, but technically, we can make it, okay. But they are still from the same family, though, right?
We call Hocker in German.
Hear me out.
Kind of similar.
They both are used for sitting, right? They're both used for sitting. Sitting. A chair and stool. They're in the same family. So maybe was something going on here that a lot of people got, I don't know. It's just the same thing. Well, yeah, it makes sense. It makes total sense.
But not quite the same thing. Dachshund. When Americans first used this word with me, I had no clue what they were talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I wasn't familiar with the word, and I also couldn't tell that it was supposed to be a German word with the English pronunciation. But now I know that Dachshund can be used in German as well, but it's actually more common to call the dogs Dackel in German. Literally, this compound word consists of Dachs, badger, and Hund, dog. A badger dog, basically. And this is because the dogs were traditionally supposed to crawl into burrows and look for badgers.
I did not know that, huh?
In English, this can also be used to describe a Dachshund,
such a wiener.
Wiener dog, but it can also refer to just a wiener sausage, or it's also often used instead of penis. In German, we say Wiener. The German W is pronounced like an English V, and it usually refers to the sausage. Wiener Würstchen would be the long version. It can also refer to a Wiener Schnitzel, which is also something to eat. Or it can simply be used for a person from the Austrian city of Vienna, which is Wien in German. Wanderlust. This is kind of an old-fashioned German word that we pronounce Wanderlust, and it's literally the desire to wander, so it means you want to travel. The word was used a lot in the literature of the Romantic era, but you can also call this Reiselust or Fernweh in German, which the last one is also an interesting word because it's kind of like the opposite of Heimweh, which is homesickness. So Fernweh pretty much means far sickness. This one is very similar to the German one, but it's not 100% the same. Angst, capitalized in German and with the German A, basically just means fear. And angst in English is also related to fear, but it describes a broader feeling of anxiety and apprehension.
Man, some of these words, I'm like, what? This is my first time even hearing these words. Again, it might be the region that she is currently living. It might be the region.
In connection with teenagers, teenage angst is what a lot of young people experience throughout puberty, and you can also say you're feeling angsty in English. So in English it describes more of a general feeling, whereas in German, Angst haben means to be scared of something, and that's usually something a little more specific, like you're scared of the spider. The English meaning of angst doesn't have a good translation in German, but it could be translated with something like Existenzangst or innere Unruhe or Angstzustände.
It can be used, right?
Kitsch is a concept that's really hard to explain actually, but according to the dictionary, it describes art, decorative objects, or design considered by many people to be ugly, without style, or false, but enjoyed by many other people, often because they are funny. So you could say, his home is full of 1950s kitsch. It means the same thing in German and in English, and it's
that sounds kind of off though, I'm not gonna lie. It's not her, it just I never heard this word before. Ever.
Means the same thing in German and in English, and it's also pronounced the same. There's also the English adjective kitschy, which is kitschig in German.
Kitschy?
Blitzkrieg. This is a military term and describes a strategy of warfare that includes short and fast attacks. The term is often used in connection with World War II, but it actually had been used way before that. We pronounce it Blitzkrieg in German, and it literally translates to lightning war, because Blitz is lightning and Krieg is war. It's used the same way in both languages, and they even adapted the word Blitz as a tactic in American football.
Really? Well,
this seems to be a very popular word in the US. I've been asked about this so many times. And what makes it so special is that this concept doesn't even really exist in the English language, which is why there isn't an English word to describe it, which is probably quite a strong statement about the German culture. Schadenfreude consists of Schaden, which means damage or harm, and Freude, which means joy. So this is the joy that you feel when someone else gets harmed or fails. So not very nice.
Not very nice. Fußball.
All sports fans should know this one. Fußball in German means soccer, or football in British English. Fußball in English refers to the bar game, which we usually call Kicker or Tischfußball in German.
That is interesting. That is interesting.
This is another concept that doesn't have its own English translation, just like Schadenfreude, and therefore the German word is used in English and some other languages too. Americans usually say Zeitgeist. In German we pronounce it Zeitgeist, and this consists of the word Zeit, which means time, and Geist, which means spirit. So Zeitgeist is the spirit of the time, which describes what's going on culturally, religiously, and intellectually during a certain time period. Woodstock was part of the 1960s Zeitgeist, for example. And in English, they even made it an adjective, which we don't even have in German, Zeitgeisty.
These words are like, what?
Schnaps. This one I also mentioned in my video on alcohol culture.
Schnaps.
In German, we spell it like this and say Schnaps, and it means hard liquor. In English, it's mostly used as part of the name of certain liquors like peppermint schnapps or peach schnapps.
Sounds kind of delicious.
Wunderkind in English, Wunderkind in German, and this literally translates to miracle child. Wunder is miracle, Kind is child. So it describes a person that is very clever or talented and becomes successful at a young age. One of the most common examples for a Wunderkind is Mozart.
A prodigy.
Poltergeist.
Wonderkid. Wonderkid? Wonderkind? Wonderkind? That one doesn't sound correct.
This looks a little bit similar to Zeitgeist. Poltern means to clatter, and Geist means ghost or spirit. And this particular...
Oh yeah, you guys have to check the Foreman Brothers, man. Poltergeist or Portuguese. How do you say that? Whatever. Check the Foreman Brothers. They're good though. They have some paranormal stuff, man. I'm telling you. There's a couple of them out there, but man, the Foreman Brothers, their channel is lit, I'm telling you.
Really describes a ghost that makes noises in the house and moves objects.
Yep.
Whether you believe in that or not is a different story.
Oh yeah, they're real.
And last but not least, the final word on my list is Schmutz. This one is pronounced and used the same way in both languages, and it means dirt. And schmutzi in English or schmutzig in German means dirty.
Hey, Felicia, nice job.
So this was my list of 20 German words that are used in English, and there are many, many more, of course, especially regarding food, like pretzel, bratwurst, or Hefeweizen, just to name a few examples. If you're interested in this, you should also definitely check out the channel Kelly Does Her Thing, because she has talked about German loanwords in English too recently. Let me know in the comments below what other German words you like to use in English and what you thought of the ones that I...
Hey man, shout out to Felicia. Not an easy video, man. Well, you know, it makes sense. You know, it makes sense. Hold on, why I'm like what? Like what? Is that better? I think so. Look like I'm gonna fall apart or something, man. What's going on here? That's alright. There it is. Hey, Felicia, nice job. Nice job. Some of these words, I'm like, it might be the region that she's currently living that a lot of these folks are using these words. I haven't heard some of these words. That's kind of weird. I mean, for example, Gesundheit, Caputa. The closest thing to kaput, capiche from the Italians. That's it. Spiel, yeah, that one, yeah. Stuhl, yeah. Touchdown, no, I don't even know what is that. Wiener, yeah. It's such a wiener, or wiener sausages. You know, I heard that before. Wiener dough. But the rest is not. I'm like, ooh. Maybe the region that she is. I mean, some of these places, Pennsylvania, Ohio, they have a very strong Dutch German culture over there, very strong. And we're talking about hundreds of years, of course, of German heritage in those areas. So it might be that they still use some of those words, right? Very interesting. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have traveled to the United States and you guys heard some of these words before, that'll be interesting to know. Or some Americans in my YouTube channel can tell me otherwise, because I live in Wisconsin. I don't hear those words at all. There's a lot of Germans over here. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you next one. I'm out. Peace.